Alright, today's video we're talking ratchets, and we're talking about sentimental ratchets. So let me explain what I got going on here. Here I have a mail item I got from James from Midwest Tool Review, where he sent me one of my favorite ratchets. That's my most sentimental ratchet, which I will explain to you. As well as I got a bunch of other ratchets out here that I plan on comparing it to, that kind of tells the story, and some other cool ratchets that kind of tie into the nostalgic and most sentimental ratchets that I own. And then finally, you'll see I got some nice wood cases here. How beautiful are they? You will have to stay tuned for a future video to see and learn more about them. I think you'll kind of know what's in them, but they are really nice sets. Not ratchets. Like I mentioned, talking about nostalgic and sentimental tools is not new to the channel. Recently we did that SK tribute video, and a lot of subscribers sent in pictures and told stories about their most sentimental SK tools. And although SK ratchets, or socket sets I should say, are my favorite because I grew up with them and they're definitely something that is sentimental to me, my most sentimental ratchet is this one here. And what this is a thumb wheel drive Craftsman, and as you can see, it's got the quick release on it. And this one was mine when I was a kid working in the shop. Unfortunately, like many other people and other things that you've probably encountered in your life, you know, something that was important to you, you didn't realize was important to you till many years later. And that was the case with this. And this actually sat in a box in my basement for many years after I brought it home, and it rusted out. It had pitting, severe pitting all the way around it. And probably about a year ago, I threw it on the belt sander and I took a lot of the heavy pitting out, and it feels good now, but it definitely has been, you know, you can see the staining, and, you know, I could have taken it down more, but I got it to a point where I thought it was in serviceable condition. Taking a look at it, you know, it's definitely got some play and wiggle in it. It still works pretty well. And this one here says forged in USA, and it has a patent on it from 1971. These were made by More Drop Tools, or More Drop Forge, and these were eventually turned into made by Esco, which I'll show you in a little bit. But this thing is beat, and it's definitely worn. I've talked about thumb wheel drives and these vintage Craftsmans in several of my other videos, and this one here, Dano actually sent me a repair kit for, and I did a video where I went to Sears several years ago, and it was going out of business and I couldn't get a repair kit, and Dano had one and sent it to me, which was just awesome. Can't thank him enough for that. But what I love about these is how they work. You know, look how nice that is. When you got something where, you know, it's loose and, you know, it's just too much back drag, and you want to just kind of back it off or put it on, that's where this thumb wheel comes into play. And that's why I like it so much, not only for that reason, but also for the fact that, like I said, it's nostalgic to me, sentimental to me, this ratchet. And then because of that, I started to collect more of the thumb wheels as I got older and into collecting tools. This one, you could see, it's just not even that proud anymore. That thumb wheel's meant to stick out and be proud. It works great, it doesn't slip, but you can see the pitting has taken its toll on the thumb wheel portion, so it doesn't have the same bite as like this 1/4 inch one here that's brand new repair kit. So let me show you what James sent. So because of those videos and me talking about them over the years, James sent me a couple of really great items that I can't thank him enough for, and I'll put a link to his channel in the description below. Very similar to like a lot of us, he likes collecting tools, he likes finding tools at great prices, and he often does a lot like I do with garage sales, estate sales, and pawn shops, things like that. So what you see here is as good as you can get, as considering basically new old stock on this Craftsman thumb wheel. And I'll show you a couple of the differences compared to the one that I have. The first is, as you can see here, there's a difference in the lettering, the writing on the handle. This one is obviously from about right after 1971 because it has the patent pending. This ratchet was created in, I think, 68, 69. So this is one of the earliest iterations. The other thing that's different is you can see here, not only does the thumb release or the socket release have the ball detent come down, it has this little piece that pushes out to eject the socket. This one does not have that, which I actually prefer. You can see it had the piece there at one point where they didn't change the forging on it, or the casting on it, I should say. They just kind of left it there, which it still has the ball detent that goes in, but doesn't push the socket off, which in my mind actually is a better design because you know, it's less things that could go wrong, less things that could get in there, less grime and dirt to bind up the ratchet. People have various opinions on quick release ratchets. You know, some people like them, some don't. Either way, this design was definitely kind of gimmicky because you had to have a socket that would specifically made to work with this. So that way, you know, and there's that so Sears did make some like that for a limited time, but you don't see too many of them. But I think this design is just great. And the other thing he's included in there, and this is unbelievable, is, let me get it out here, a brand new repair kit for one. So I don't think I'm going to use it in mine, just because even though it could definitely use it, I want to keep this as it was original. So when I pass this on to my son or someone else, they'll have it just the way I had it from when I was probably about, I don't know, 11, 12 years old. I was using this in the early and mid 80s. And then it went to rest for a while, and now it's back. And I do use it from time to time, just for nostalgic reasons. The length on these weren't great, and these measured just under 7 inches, so it would have been great if they were an inch or two longer. I think it just would have been the perfect ratchet. But hey, that's kind of what ratchets were back in that time. They weren't made super long. This was the gold standard at the time, or just the, you know, the real pioneer of the ratchet, the SK. Ooh, is that sounding smooth or what? And these just measured only about 3/4 of an inch longer. These were just over 7 inches. So that was common for the time. So the reason you knew that these were a good design is many people tried to copy them in one way or another. So the first one I'll point out to you here is Husky, right? So this was a Stanley. They made Husky at this time, and you could find Stanley ratchets like this as well. And they put the thumb wheel on the back. Just don't love it. It's bulky, and compared to these, I mean, yeah, the Craftsman is a little bit thinner, but it just doesn't feel as good because your hands are kind of back. I just love the positioning of this thumb wheel. Stanley also made this for Craftsman, which is the tri-wing design, I believe they call it. And once again, it's got the thumb wheel on the back. But the thumb wheel is a useful tool, like I mentioned, when you don't have good back drag or you just want to feed something on. Later on, Craftsman actually made this, where it says Sears on it. And you could probably still get these, but these are super cool because you could take a modern ratchet or any ratchet that is not a thumb wheel and turn it into a thumb wheel. So how cool is that? Look how nice that works. So this is something that I'm going to probably leave on here. I got this, I came across this at an estate sale or a garage sale not that long ago. It was in the bottom of a toolbox, and I thought that was neat. And then Dropmore Forging, like I mentioned, eventually turned into Esco, and they made these ratchets. This is a beauty my dad sent me not too long, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago that he came across. And it's the same model, except it doesn't have the one that pushes out. But as you can see there, it was, you know, that these were probably the stock that they had, that at one point they were knocking out that centerpiece. And this one works great as well, super smooth. And it's just almost the same design as this is a 1/2 inch, almost the same, just the handles. I'll actually prefer this one because it's got the knurling on the handle versus the Craftsman. And then what SK did, kind of in the same concept of a thumb wheel drive, or just to kind of further the point of the necessity of having a good thumb wheel drive, is they put knurling on their extensions right about the length where when you're using it, you could feel it and just kind of work it with one hand. It is a little farther out. Obviously, I love it where Craftsman has it right in that position. So let me know your most sentimental nostalgic ratchet that you have. This is definitely the one that I've owned, but this is my dad's. So now it's something that I'm going to be taking care of. And this was his when he was a kid. This is a snap-on, and this one was made during the war years, and he used it in the 50s and 60s, and then he handed this down to me a couple of years ago, and I cleaned it up recently and did a video on that. So let me know in the comment section if first of all, if a ratchet is your most sentimental tool, and if so, which one it is, and if not, let me know what your most sentimental tool is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.